Hello, this is Mauricio Ortiz, and this is my presentation for the lab report number 12, which is for formulation and troubleshooting. I think that this was actually the funnest lab because we got to apply our knowledge throughout the semester onto baking bread. The lab consisted of choosing a formula and um, and then trying to do two variations to that formula to that control dough, or do three variations to that control formula and see how those variations change the results of the bread we baked. I chose to I chose the formula for the 100% whole grain bread, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to do the control formula and then two variations, just because I wanted to have the control results as a measure, as a accurate measure, and that way I can see how my variations affected the final product. So uh, what I did is the follow the ingredients in the formula, and I follow the directions in mixing and in resting the dough and sheeting the dough, and actually dividing, sheeting, proving, and baking. Um, the procedures were described in the lab instructions. So after following those procedures, I went ahead and did my second variation. So my second variation, I decided to change some of the mixing procedures, time, and processes. The formula for the 100% whole grain bread for the control dough indicated that we needed to mix all the dry ingredients and then add the water and mix it all together. There was no salt delayed or sugar delayed methods, so I decided to test a salt delay and a sugar delay. And as a result of that, I was also going to have to test lowering the mixing times. So I was gonna delay the addition of the salt and the sugar to the formula, and I was gonna reduce the mixing time by 2 minutes. And the results that I was expecting were a little bit more stiffer, more elastic dough because a lot less mixing time. Obviously, I was gonna get a lower dough temperature, and for the final product, I expected to get a more chewy, more compact uh, crumb grain, and not as much taste because I less time, less mixing time is less time for the gluten proteins to form. So those were my expectations for the first variation. And then for my second variation, I didn't change any of the processes. What I decided to change was the a couple of the ingredients. I had used white whole grain, whole wheat flour for the first two formulas. So I decided to replace the white whole wheat flour with red whole wheat flour. And then I also decided to replace the whole oat flour with lupini bean flour. I don't know if anyone saw my um, topic of interest presentation, but lupini beans are a legume that I'm working on and that I did a presentation on for this course. And I wanted to test how lupini bean flour would um, work in a baking application. So the results that that I was expecting for my second variation was I was gonna have to have a longer mixing time because I was gonna have higher protein flours. Red whole wheat flour, it has a lot more, not a lot, but has, well, I don't know if a lot, but has more protein than white whole wheat flour, and also lupini bean flour has a lot more protein than whole oat flour. So I was also expecting changes in the taste of the final product and changes in the color of the final product. I didn't know what to expect as for the texture, just because I there are I didn't have a way of studying who has actually baked with lupini bean flour, so really the texture results, I didn't know what to expect. So after conducting the baking, we got the results. The first thing that I noticed was that there was more bake loss in my control baking than in any of the other two. The one that, so all of my those were divided into 210 gram loaves, and the control dough after baking ended up weighing or scaling 183 grams. The variation one, so that was the one that I uh, changed the salt delay and the sugar delay. That one ended up scaling or weighing 186 grams, and the variation two, the lupini flour and red whole wheat flour, ended up weighing after baking 188 grams. So that was the formula that had the less bake loss. As for symmetry, the formula that had the most symmetry or the most asymmetric was the variation one, and I have it here. Um, this is, I'm sorry, this is variation one, and the result of variation one was pretty much the same as the control dough or the control bread. What I was expecting as a result actually happened. Just a little bit stiffer end product. Um, then the differences with the variation two were what I expected as well. There was a change in color, and it was more of a red final product. If you can see it right here. It's more reddish. Actually, the lupini bean flour was very yellow, like almost bright yellow. So I think that might have neutralized a little bit. So you can't see as red of a product, but you can definitely taste a little bit more rancid from the red whole wheat flour and from also the lupini flour. So the results were what I expected. I still got three products that were very good in taste. The crumb grain didn't have much difference. I think the control was more compact than any of the other two, and that was surprising to me. I thought the ones with more protein were gonna have a more compact crumb grain, but it wasn't like that. And my conclusions were that the when baking 100% whole wheat bread, you don't need the salt delay or the sugar delay, and you actually need a little bit more time. But you can, for me, using both of the delay systems didn't affect much. Now, changing the types of ingredients that you use in baking is is pretty interesting, and I think that touches on a subject that we've discussed through all of the semester, and that is whether or not baking is a science or an art. And I've always said that it's a mixture of the two because it's a very precise science. We need to measure, have temperatures very accurate. Um, we have to scale ingredients very accurately as well, and so that's the science part of it. But there's also that creative side of it, which is kind of what we used for this experiment, and and that's the addition of new products and trying to create healthier products. That's what I wanted to do with the lupini bean flour. Lupini beans are actually the highest of all in protein, so I would think that we could get more nutritious bread with lupini beans. So variations of ingredients is kind of where the artistic part of baking comes out, and formulations and precise measurements is more of the scientific side of it. So this experiment also touched on this subject. It was very interesting, a very nice semester. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all enjoyed my presentation. I will upload my written report with pictures and graphs. And thank you for watching.